Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing good and enjoying your day so far. The final weekend of online qualifiers of the entire season begin this evening. OpTic, after a great showing last weekend with Mercules, need to continue that strong form this upcoming weekend. But actually last night, it was a different SMG duo back in action. That was Pred and Shotzzy, spotted again together playing some mates with a few spicy words for Skyz, it's got to be said. Meanwhile, while Skyz is probably going to be competing in Dallas, not for the OpTic team though, of course, but actually stepping into the Stallions with more drama going down there last night as well. Lots happening today. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Let's dive straight in. Thought this is pretty crazy. I mentioned this on my F1 channel yesterday. People were talking about it. I don't know if Antonelli, this is Kimi Antonelli, Mercedes F1 driver, really knows much about 100 Thieves. I don't know if he's a fan of H-Shot or whatever, but because Mercedes is sponsored, like they've got the Adidas thing, and 100T did the collab with them. So maybe that's all it is, but I thought it was pretty cool regardless, to be fair. It was getting lots of traction on social media yesterday. Just wanted to quickly dive into this because I mentioned this the other day very briefly, but I didn't really dive into the details. So people are kind of wondering, all right, what's the better Ultra, the current team, or some of their former players? Scrap, Merc, of course, was there for some time, Envoy, but, you know, some were forgetting actually that this is Metals, and he was very briefly on Toronto way back in MW19 when they formed a very wide squad of loads of players. Lucky was there as well, but they had a couple of Spanish players, and then eventually they settled on, you know, Bance, Cami, Insight, CleanX, those guys for the upcoming seasons and beyond. But let's dive into some of this drama, right? Because we know that the Stallions setup has been happening over the last couple of days. Zinni was getting involved, and he was watching Twisty, aka Dashy, absolutely fry him in some matches. I do have the clip of that to share in a couple of seconds because it wasn't, you know, I couldn't find it in time for yesterday's video, like the actual clip, but I'll share it for you guys today anyway, where Zinni's going 15 and 35 getting slammed. Dashy's hitting some insane shots on the other guy's accounts. Twisty is acting well because he's doing the comms, so nobody suspects anything is happening here, and just honestly sensational content. And Zinni was mind blown that he was getting slammed again and again and again, but he's stepping in as the VP of operations for the Stallions as they look to form their team going forward. So yeah, this was that clip. As I say, I'll share it in a couple of seconds, but like, again, this is like, you look at this clip and you'd think, well, it looks like Dashy, right? Like, it looks like his POV. I know that sometimes in esports it can be difficult to say, as we said yesterday, if you take someone's POV and you put a different name attached to it, can you still tell it's them? I mean, okay, if you know this is Dashy, then you're like, okay, yeah, obviously these are kind of Dashy shots. The way that he plays this, the way that he dips out, kind of hits a little pump and comes back in, like, that's exactly the way that Dashy would play it. But still, when it says someone else's name, it's still difficult to know in the moment. I know that Dashy even, I think, said this a couple of years ago. He was like, look, if you watched me in ranked, you'd think I was cheating if you didn't know it was me. And, well, this is the example of that. And also just showing the levels to the game, I guess, of the fact that, yeah, the Challengers players, former pros are good, but there's still a difference there between that and the absolute top tier of competition. So there's lots happening, though, in terms of what Stallions are going to do. Of course, they're not going to bring in Dashy, and they're looking to form a team. Now, Swooty is the man who, like, Zuma wants to build around, but he's only really come in, he's a talented player, but, like, he's not really got the pro points. And teams, certainly players, want to have players with pro points. They can get the better seeding. You know, I get it. It is what it is. But regardless, Stallions, the content's been sensational over the last couple of days. And this guy's Zach. His name has been doing the rounds lately because an APAC player who might be coming over. Now, a number of the players in that region have, you know, let's say controversial histories. But look, he's a talented kid, and maybe there's an opportunity that he's going to get out there to the States because, well, we see this, FC Stallions later in the night say Australian flag and then horse emoji. So, you know, the Stallions or whatever. So maybe there's something going on in that. Would honestly be really cool to see if this goes through, especially because, I mean, you know, it was Pred. Before Pred, there was Shocks and Fighter, and even Luca came around for some time, but certainly Dens, Buzzo, you know, all those other legendary names for the Australian scene. But, you know, recent times it's not happened, right? We've had Pred, but apart from that, that's been about it. And speaking of Pred, we've got more to say on that in a second. But Skyz also mentions that if he got to a certain sub-goal, then he would also look to play for the Stallions if Hex was down to make it happen and Zuma was down to make it happen. Because, I mean, look, he's the substitute for OpTic, and if he's probably, you know, going to be there at the event anyway, right? Because as OpTic sub, presumably he's going to be there, and if they still needed him for whatever reason, he could still step in and say, yeah, sorry guys, I've got to step out of the Challengers team, it is what it is. So it probably makes a fair bit of sense for him to play if he still wants to compete in something. And, well, the super chats came through, or the subs came through, the donos came through, and therefore that's how it's going to go. As the flanks say, it's official. Welcome Caesar Skyz Bueno to the Stallions. So that's definitely going to be a fascinating story of the weekend. So I'll share these couple of clips, and then also what happened later in the night, where Pred and Shotzzy came together to actually play some quality matchups. Okay, they had some Stallion scrims, then there were some 8s going on, and, well, there were some spicy words said either way, but certainly these two guys having fun playing with each other again, which has raised a few questions as to what could happen next year.
Oh, I haven't really been watching, to be honest.
Because I feel like stats don't always say the whole story.
I like Encourage. I think it's between Encourage and Hitman, if I'm being honest. Because, one, I'm not just saying it's everything, but, you know, like, me and Symbols have no pro points, so, like, we're gonna play Omit, like, round 1, so, like, it does help they have pro points. And then 2, like, we want to win the thing, so Encourage has a high seal. You would say he has a ceiling?
God!
And that he might just go crazy.
Nah, Twisty's on a team, Swoop. Twisty's on a team, I think.
Okay.
Twisty is yo, Twisty and Encourage and call it a day.
Nah, that's
a good team.
That's 2 maps in a row. Twisty just world started
That
this
guy's
lobby.
cheating, bro. This guy's cheating, bro.
He's cheating?
No,
He's cheating right now.
Yep, that's what people are saying. Hitman said he's cheating.
You think so?
That's what Hitman said, and I'm backing his beef.
No,
I don't want to hear it.
Walled up, you're walled up.
I need to see Twisty have one bad match.
Unless he's the next Mercules. Unless he's the next Mercules.
Yo, Zinni, brother, it wasn't the muzzle. It wasn't
Nah, you're
the
cheating,
muzzle.
bro. We're on you, bro.
Yeah,
We're PC
sure
checking
I
you.
am.
We're PC checking you.
I'm sure, buddy.
Bro,
What's your best challengers placing? What's your best challengers placing?
He just
The top 32. I've only
What?
played one. I've only played one.
And you're a god?
Good, I just left the Pine Park Studios.
Oh, shit. So you're feeling nice. All right, Hector, I see you. I see you. Slowly.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, Hector, I got to ask you something. Can I actually pick up Caesar Skyz Bueno? Is that okay with you?
Well, now that you fucking hit me up in front of all these fine people here on the chat, then yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Wait, can you ask him about Scump too? Ask him about while you have him on the phone.
You know what I mean? What about
While you have him on the
what about
phone.
Scump? What about Scump?
Nah, hell no.
Ah,
Hey.
it's worth a shot.
All right.
No go on Zinni either.
Absolutely. No, not Tony. We don't want Tony. We don't want him. We tried him out yesterday. We don't want him. We don't want Tony.
All right.
You know.
Okay.
There goes you.
There you. Dude, Caesar's a dog shit.
One shot closed.
We love him. Yeah, jump on it.
Oh, bro, these guys are away. The fuck?
Dead front art. Okay, an art. Only one art on time.
Caesar, bro.
one's
Caesar.
He's in
No wonder this guy got. Okay, let me chill.
This guy's awesome. Oh,
Oh.
hold on.
Let
Turn my vector.
I stand in front. I got your back.
Back door.
Let me get it.
Nice shot, Jay.
No, two
Back
back.
door. One more back door. I think it's good to go.
I'll be in front. I pray.
Oh, this is why we didn't work, bro. Fucking nading me.
Oh my god!
Holy fuck. That's Caesar.
I have an initial.
I blocked.
Actually, should have had Caesar.
On the right, Hitman mid-con. Bro, this guy got the most pro points. He's on the right. Back fucking gun.
One in the back. One in the back.
Hitting lights.
Holy fuck.
My god! Oh my god! Money.
Holy fuck. How did we actually win a ring together?
Alright,
Drop
Caesar,
my
hit him
twos. I don't know how we
twice.
did that. In cat turned on. There's no way this guy's
bro.
playing for them. I'm going mid. I stand on cat.
I'm on top. They're shooting.
I got one.
I'm going for front. Let's go.
They're shooting.
Go.
Come in. He's left corner. Go. Water.
Dead! Oh my god, it's the duo! Help
In
me!
the back.
Outer. Hit him.
Oh my god!
Let's fucking go, boys.
How did we win that map, bro? I was fucking trying.
The fuck did we just win that?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Zinni was fucking tweaking, I think.
So I know that people were reminiscing and kind of missing, wow, like the Pred Shotzzy duo, what could have been? Could it have still been the case this season? Could it have worked out? I don't know if Huke is watching that feeling some type of way. Probably not. I don't think it's a massively big deal. But certainly it's something to think about anyway, right? People have certainly been watching those couple of clips and saying, maybe Pred and Shotzzy could once again form a team next year. Like if it doesn't work out with Huke, could OpTic go to Pred and get him back? I think the chances are pretty slim. I do think the chances are pretty slim. I think there'd be some questions there if they were to do it again. But, like, if that's what the Warlord wants at some point, then, you know, maybe it's a consideration. I think it's pretty unlikely. You know, I wouldn't put the chances of Shotzzy and Pred teaming together again at any more than like 20%. But I don't think it's in complete impossibility, right? The other, of course, spicy comments made Skyz his way, shooting his body, doing all this type of stuff. And obviously, look, it's all kind of made in jest, right? But at the end of the day, Skyz was on that team and they wanted to keep him, right? I think that's the reason why this isn't, like, disrespectful or anything, because Shotzzy seemed pretty happy to keep Skyz before Hex came in and said, no, we're getting Mercules, this is how it is. And then Shotzzy agreed and said, okay, you know what, fair enough, I get it. So it seems to the rest of the team. But certainly for Skyz, you know, you might see that and think some type of way, okay, he didn't fully say the whole words about, oh, that's why you got, but, you know, he stopped himself before he said, I think, what we probably expected that he might have wanted to say at that particular moment. But, yeah, Pred and Shotzzy together, you know, the duo back in business, thought it was kind of nice to see going into the weekend. Of course, Falcons have had a horrific season, as have OpTic, but, you know, for OpTic, it's finally turning around. For Falcons, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, they're officially not going to be at the World Championship. They're still kind of struggling in this online arena for the time being. But let's talk about the games of the weekend. Just quickly, some other games. If you guys have been familiar with the Breaking Point website over the last couple of weeks, you'll know how you can earn bread by interacting with the site, commenting on the match pages while they're live, voting in the polls. You can then use the bread to get packs, all this good stuff. You can also now earn bread by playing the game. So Diz, the guy who made CDL Wordle and all that, we can't call it CDL Wordle because Wordle is actually like a copyrighted thing by the New York Times, so we can't call it that. But, you know, it's basically, it's the same thing. And Diz has made it to integrate now with the site. So that's really amazing. We've got basically Wordle and Gridlock are on the Breaking Point site. If you play each game every day, you get 10 bread. I think that's how it works. So, yeah, congrats to the team for getting this rolled out. Diz has done a killer job as always. And let's talk about the matches of today. So there's some big games this weekend. It is the final weekend of qualifiers of the entire season, right? Which is, you know, a long time coming. To be honest, these qualifiers haven't been as painful this year as they have been in past years. I think because there have been so many interesting storylines, certainly with OpTic struggling, and there's a bit of drama about the champs race, of course, because OpTic maybe weren't going to make it. They still may not, but, you know, of course, they'll be feeling very confident as it stands. So, yeah, again, 10 games of the weekend as always to close out the stage. OpTic play 2 matches. Ultra on the Sunday is real interesting, assuming that OpTic have no issues with Gentlemates tonight. I think with Gentlemates, they are a better team than their record indicates. Like, that actually is my opinion, because their record is just so bad. Like, there's just, they shouldn't be. I mean, let's have a look at the standings. They are 4 in 24 on the season, only with 30 points. They picked up one of those wins in a minor, I think. You don't get any points for winning only one match in a minor, so that's how they've managed this. But they have had a few game 5s. Their record should be better than 4 in 24, I think, but it's just been so terrible that, you know, they're not going to be an OpTic realistically. And I think the issue is for Gentlemates is that even though I don't think that they're quite as bad as they look, you know, maybe they've at least, you know, went game 5 with Rocker, stuff like that, but maybe that was Rocker just trolling. The issue is that they might just be completely mentally compromised now, and the reality is it doesn't really matter anyway. So OpTic are probably going to bowl them over. Ravens play Rocker, you know, big series, right? Again, Rocker desperately need every 10 points they can get. They're currently 40 points behind OpTic, and OpTic, you know, they may Rocker see OpTic win, and that effectively mandates the Rocker would have to do the same against Ravens. Kind of tough series to call, but because you know how it is with these guys, it's probably a game 5, isn't it? Let's be real. And if it's a game 5, well, Rocker win or will they choke? I mean, like, logic would dictate Ravens in 5 is a reasonable prediction here. And then Boston Thieves, kind of a tough run for Boston recently, but they did get the win against OpTic, which puts them in a nice spot. They're at 190 points. They'll be maybe hoping to hold on to that 7th seed, but yeah, they've been solid this year, and they do play Gentlemates on the Sundays. so I guess it could be worse, but Thieves tonight is going to be a tough game, but also big for Thieves, right? Because they started the stage 0-2. They need to win today, really, to get themselves to 2-2, and then they play Cloud9. So, yeah, that would make Thieves the best possible seed they can get for the major after a difficult start. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.